Before we begin, I want to shout out the new Kirbyster Plays community tab. It's a place where you can post redesigns of the prototype or any character you like, your own fan designs from previous years, all kinds of things. You can also talk to me and other viewers on there as well and discuss whatever you like. Some of you have already discovered it and the posts I've seen on there are incredible, so it's worth checking out. It's also very easy to find, it's just a button on my YouTube channel next to subscribe and join. Before we got the official reveal for the design of the prototype in Poppy Playtime Chapter 5 Broken Things, all that existed were fan designs. Nobody knew which direction to take the prototype or what they would end up looking like. Here are some more preserved prototype fan designs that go back years, with some special exceptions. I'm Kirbyster Plays, subscribe if you'd like, how you doing? Okay, so I can guarantee you this first design was submitted by a viewer, so thank you. When I first saw this design last night, after the initial ridiculousness and weirdness of it set in, I realised that there's a concept within this design, which I don't think I've seen in any other prototype fan design ever. If you take a look at the purple wings, we can kind of tell from the colour and the yellow label, or at least I think that's a yellow label, that these wings would be made from Catnap's material, the same way that Catnap's fur is utilised in the official prototype design. I didn't realise that at first. I thought that the artist for this just added wings because they wanted to. I mean, I guess they're wings, they could also be arms. That led me to ponder a very specific question. What if the prototype's official design had been made up not only of enemies that we've beaten and encountered already, like Huggy, Mummy Longlegs and Catnap, but also toys that we haven't encountered yet? Until now, we've been led to believe the prototype has been stalking us and only us. That's why, other than the main jester body, they're made up of toys that we've already encountered and beaten. But wouldn't it be cool if they had like toy wings on their body somewhere, from a toy that we don't end up seeing until chapter 6? You know, a lot of people have a Poppy Playtime problem with the way that they introduce villains and characters, especially in recent chapters. It seems like some characters that are introduced along the road have their importance added almost retroactively. So having parts of toys that we haven't encountered yet but go on to see on the prototype's own body, I think that would be very cool and appeal to a lot of people. I know I'm a bit too late saying this because we already know what the prototype's design is, but it's just interesting to think about. Oh, here we have a very well-drawn humanoid interpretation. You know, it's so interesting to see how many people imagine the prototype as human. You have to remember at one point the main giveaway sign we had to the prototype was their arm, which does look very humanoid, so I can see where people get ideas like this. If Mob Entertainment decided to go down that road and make the prototype humanoid, I can't see a single reason why it couldn't look exactly like this. It makes sense not only because they're an unfinished experiment, but also an experiment on a human trying to turn a human into a toy. That, you know, something like this is possible. I can see why people drew it like this. Well, never mind, we have a completely different take here. What? Why is there a skull? Why is it so big? Why are the eyes glowing? Why is it looking at me like that? Why are the legs like this? Why does it have weird protruding Slenderman things? How many arms does it have? I think I can count maybe 4? 3, 4? I don't like it. We're gonna move on from this one. What is going on here? Hold on, am I looking at the front or the back of this one? Oh, it is the front. I can see like the human carcass remains at the front. This is interesting. In the beginning, I thought this was like a droideka from Star Wars or something. Like, it's very mangled. Obviously, if this was like rendered properly into a game in like that Mob Entertainment style, it has the potential to look amazing. In this picture, it just kind of looks like a bit of a mess. It has the iconic prototype arm that we've come to love. You know, it's like a kind of literal interpretation of Catnap's Shrine in a way. Catnap's Shrine, of course, from Chapter 3, which we now know was unfortunately for a beta design of the prototype. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if Catnap's Shrine gets changed retroactively. You know, that could be quite interesting. Yeah, very, very strange take here. What is happening here? Is this the same design we saw in the previous one? I mean, poor Kissy Missy, she's been impaled. What I get from this design is that there is not only a skeleton 1, but there is a skeleton 2 as well. That's interesting. Again, that's another concept I don't think I've seen in many designs. You know, so many prototype fan designs have multiple monster heads, because a lot of people expected that, and I'm very surprised that we didn't. But I don't think I've seen many prototype fan designs with multiple human heads on them. It's a very interesting idea. Also, I love how there's like some kind of monitor on it. Wouldn't that have been cool? Like if the prototype had a VCR on them, and the only way to deactivate them was to like take out the VHS? I don't know, am I thinking too much? I thought that would have been a good idea. I can confirm that this isn't the design we saw previously because the legs are different, but it's just as strange. I don't know what's coming out of the top. I don't know why Boxy Boo is standing so close and poor little Bunzo Bunny down there. Yeah, strange one, weird one, that one. I love this one. I love Lego versions, even though usually they're just reserved to like clickbait YouTube channels. I still kind of appreciate Lego prototype designs. And if they made an official Lego prototype, they could use this as like the blueprints for that, because, you know, the legs at least wouldn't be that different. I have that head. I have that Lego head. I don't know why that's what my mind went to, but I have that exact piece at home. It's cool. Again, like imagine how this Lego design would translate into Chapter 5. You know, there's potential there. Oh, okay. Strange new take here. I've never seen the prototype as a dog before. I mean, yeah, I guess at one point there was the potential for it to look like anything. He has a little boogie bot. What does that say? Oh, he has a little spy. Oh, that's nice. That's a good idea. That would make sense, because we've seen Boogiebot quite a lot, and I don't think they've actually led up to anything, so that'd be quite interesting, if they had like a secret connection to the prototype. Yeah, this is cool. It's an interesting idea. I like to imagine that this dog is like the same height as like Poppy. That'd be quite fun. Oh boy, the Collector. He is made to repair broken toys, and if he can't fix them, he bonds them. That's a very interesting idea. Like, he just keeps collecting them? That's strange. And I love how it's given the prototype an actual name, the Collector. You know, it makes sense. We've had titles in the franchise before, the Doctor, and now we have the Collector. That would have been very cool. And also, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I really like this design, guys. I think if it translated into the game and was rendered properly, this one would look like Withered Bonnie, but like without ears. It has the potential to look terrifying. And not only that, I have a soft spot for designs that are made like this, because I know that, like, if I was half my age when Poppy Playtime came out, I would be hopping on MS Paint and making designs that look just like it. Ooh, okay, going all in on robotics. You know, I want to take this moment to say, like, this design and the humanoid design we saw earlier are emblematic of just the spectrum of imagination that comes with the prototype. I mean, they look so wildly different. Even compare this one to the last one, and the one before that. They're all meant to be the same character, and yet they just look completely different. It's really interesting to think about. You know, there are so many different avenues that we could have gone down that I'm almost upset that we have an official design now, because that imagination has been stunted. But at the same time, we had like half a decade to theorize what it could look like. This is really, really cool. I love like how it has one flashing eye, so that's one thing it's got going for it. All in on robotics. That's so interesting. I like this one. I like the mask. It looks very Yume Nikki Uboa / Amazing Digital Circus. This one looks very hunched. I also like have massive respect for anyone that can draw the legs. The legs are so difficult to draw. You know, they're always going to look bunched up, but like these are drawn really well actually. One thing that makes this particular design stand out is how it has 1006 actually written on it. You know, for how iconic the name Experiment 1006 has become, now that we know them as the prototype, that name is going to be lost. So actually having 1006 written on it, even if it was written on the design in like Sharpie that Elliot Ludwig just scribbled on, wouldn't that have been cool? We have another design here which is very similar. It's from the previous person. I really like it. I like to imagine that the skull head is like the mask that's been torn off, although the design is different. The ribcage on this one is more defined. It's very cool, and yet it's also so different to the official design. It's just really interesting to think about, you know? I like this one because it's like a more literal adaptation of Catnap Shrine from Poppy Chapter 3. I like the catnap representation because it means that like this design could have expelled Poppy gas the way that the official design does. I like how it only has one arm. I think that's a very interesting idea. I can see, like, I'm pretty sure that's Boxy's arm in the middle there. And again, it has 1006 written on it. Lots of very interesting, very good ideas here. Ooh, this one has a saw and a gun. Maybe it's not a gun. Maybe it's a flamethrower. Maybe it's like a super soaker and it just fires water. I have no idea. I like the head on it. This one also has like a little monitor by it. They're the two concepts that I think we're seeing the most in this video. You know, humanoid designs and designs with monitors. This one is very bulky. Like, look at the size of the head compared to like everything around it. I don't even know why an experiment would end up looking like this. Especially when the end goal is turning humans into toys. But I do like it, you know? I do like it. You know, like 1% of me did think that the prototype was only going to have one arm. That does make sense thinking back. Why is it looking at me this way? Why is that? What is that? Who is that? I don't know what Prisma 3Ders, but Prisma, this is my first impression of whatever you are. Why does it look like a tripod? What is it made of? Okay, we're gonna move on from this one. I hate this one more. Every millisecond it's on my screen. Oh wow, look at this one. Oh wow, zoom in on this one. This one is drawn incredibly well. Oh, I love how this one's put together. Jesus Christ, it looks like something out of Bionicle or Lego Hero Factory, you know, Ordeal of Fire type area, you know. Humanoid with like the mismatched, burnt, charred, rusted legs. And the Mummy Longlegs head on it and the Huggy there as well. We've even got like Catbee. Oh god, that's amazing. The only thing I have like a little quarrel with is the mask. I think it looks a little off. But my god, what a great idea. I like to imagine that this would be like the same size as the player character. Very, very good stuff, guy. Experiment 1006, the prototype. Okay, so this one, it has the head from the Golden Diamond design. Golden Diamond is another design on YouTube. They made a very, very popular fan design for the prototype, which I've gone over before. A nice mix of heads here. I like how Boxy's box is used as like a joint on one of the arms. Another very new, very unique, very interesting idea. I like how it has a Poppy on it, and what's this? Another monitor? Ooh. I promise, I didn't mean for it to line up like this, where like all of these designs have monitors on them. I don't know. I mean, I'm calling them monitors. They're TVs, they're VCRs, you know, but I'm going to call them monitors. Yes, this one went viral on Facebook. I can remember back when the consensus was that Huggy was the prototype, or a version of Huggy was the prototype, and if Mob Entertainment went down that particular avenue, this is what it would have ended up looking like. If they followed through with that mentality, in Chapter 5 we would have seen a being like this that's withered, half robotic, a bit organic and mostly Huggy. So, you know, it's an interesting idea. This screen grab is from an animation that was uploaded to Facebook in 2024. To give you an example of how far down the road people thought it was possible that the prototype was Huggy. What is this one? It's a bloody skull and an arm. Okay, I like to imagine that like it doesn't even have legs. Like this is detachable. Like you can just hold it. The skull makes me think that like this would belong in a Flash game. Is anyone else seeing that? Like one of those old web SWF Flash Wave games. Well, here's an interesting one. You know, chronologically, the prototype and Poppy have a very special relationship because they were made around the same time. And even before we got confirmation of that, there was no intuitive gap. So a lot of people sussed out, okay, the prototype and Poppy have this special relation, therefore equals the prototype could look like Poppy. But this is the first time I've seen it drawn in such a way. I like to imagine that they drew the prototype as Poppy, and then right at the end they thought, ah no, at the end of Chapter 2, the prototype steals Mummy Longlegs. I've got to find somewhere to put them as well. This is like Poppy, but infused with Smiling Critters technology. Like I think the hat, it might be catnap, and the eyes and the mouth. It just gives me that kind of vibe. I love how this one is drawn. Again, usually this kind of art style comes out in like clickbait animation YouTube channels, but I want to see an entire 6-part comic series in this art style. Make it happen. I love this design. It's got the doughy head, it has like a big old mouth and a mouth inside the mouth on the chest, or at least like some kind of broken chassis with glass and a mouth inside that. I guarantee you that's the one they would have talked with. It has 2 arms, it has a mix of Daddy and Mummy Longlegs, it's got the arms, it's still got Huggy representation, it's got Dog Day and Catnap, so it still could have expelled Poppy gas the way that we know that the official one does. I like this one. There's a lot going for this one. Oh, we have a good mix here. Now the middle top one, middle center top, middle center one, we've seen that in a previous video. I'm familiar with this one, I've seen it around a few times, yeah, it's very cool. And to the left of that is just the arm. To the right, is that Bumblebee? Is this like do we have a Transformers thing going on here? I don't know. This one down here is strange. It has multiple heads, but again, they're multiple organic human heads, which is quite strange. This looks potentially like if Doughy the Doughman from Chapter 4 was like human, this is kind of what their skeleton would look like. How many arms do you need? You have 6 hands, my guy. What is going on here? What? Is there a microwave on this one? What? Okay, what? How many hands are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe? What? I can't even make out what the head is. What is the thinking here? This one's quite cool. This one I think is the most normal. out of all of them, and yet it's still like very organic. Like, what the hell is going on in that ribcage? It went all in on having a skull. The legs look very huggy, which again, very unique, very interesting idea. Yeah, cool design. And with that collection of 6, I guess kind of 5.5, maybe 5 if you don't count the arm, I'm going to call it there for today. The main thing I want you to take away from today is that there is that spectrum of imagination. Every design that you just saw was for the same character. They were all fan designs of the prototype. They were all what people thought the prototype could look like. Yeah, some of them were just having a laugh, but you know, even then, there are concepts in there that could have bled their way into the official games. I love it. So again, I'm going to remind you of that new Kirbyster Plays community tab. I want to know which design was your favourite. If you designed the prototype, what would it look like? Even if you just write out, my prototype design would have this. I'm interested in reading and seeing them. I may even include them in a video. I'll see you there. Subscribe if you like. I'm Kirbyster Plays. Bye.